Welcome to For Formula One's Sake, the snivelling Ferrari child of F1 podcasts.
I'm upset that I picked the wrong Ferrari driver to support.
Welcome to For Formula One's Sake, the fucking horrendous wall-scrawled caricature of F1 podcasts.
They were the worst thing
Absolutely
I have
terrible.
ever seen.
I like them.
I saw Ricciardo's one today and I didn't know which driver it was supposed to be. Was that bad?
Welcome to For Formula One's Sake, the F1 podcast that isn't having drinks tonight to improve our performance.
What?
We have cracked
That was a
open
Hamilton
beer.
thing. He didn't have any drinks in his car and he lost 4.5 pounds by the end of the race. Maybe that was why he was panting all the way through it.
Welcome to For Formula One's Sake, the F1 podcast that will be using its number 2 presenter to help its number 1 presenter. Who's number 2?
This is awkward.
Yeah, this is going to be...
Yeah.
I'm Cheeka, and today, from producer Matt's detached 6-bedroom house in London's Belgravia, we're going to talk about the Spanish Grand Prix. Virtually every team expected a podium by Barcelona, but only 3 succeeded, and McLaren wasn't one of them. We'll look back at the goings-on at the Circuit de Catalunya, and we'll also muse the latest news, plus tweets, comments, and an email. And there's more inspired genius on how to fix the sport from Terry in his State of F1. That's all to come. With me is a man who actually watched an F2 race this weekend. It's Terry Saunders.
I was so tired after the Formula 1, I left the telly on and I watched the Formula 2 race and it was bloody great.
Was this
What happened?
the one that Charles Leclerc was in?
No, it was the one that some other guy, Charles Leclerc was in it because he's in the season, but it was the one that a guy who was third got called Latifi.
Nicholas Latifi?
Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah was third, and then on the first corner went to first, and then stayed first for most of the race, then binned it at the end. Oh, it was great.
Is there anything that F1 could learn, do you think?
The front wings are really uncomplicated, and they can really follow each other. It's such a simple idea. Make the front wings less wavy.
It'll never work.
And alongside him is a man who's been finding parallels to F1 in other sports. It's Phill Tromans.
It's a complete coincidence that we've both been watching stuff other than F1 this week.
Judas.
I've been watching a load of professional cycling. Because I've been getting quite into my bike riding
You
the last
have?
year or so. And I thought I'd watch how the people who know what they're doing do it. And I've been watching one of the big 3 races of the year. Which
Tour de France.
No, there's another one called the Giro d'Italia, which is like Italy's version of the Tour de France. It goes on for 3 weeks. Goes all around Italy. And there's a load of parallels to F1. Like, it's all driven by lightweight carbon technology. And, there's been loads of F1 teams who've built bikes for various people. McLaren did a load of stuff. And Lotus have been involved in it in the past and all this kind of stuff. And it's also run by a massively incompetent governing body. And there's just loads of fuck-ups everywhere. It's a lot like F1. The last one I saw, a load of the top contenders were wiped out by a police motorbike who parked at the side of the road and was sticking out and everybody crashed into him.
That's brilliant.
It is quite amusing, and it's chock full of politics and suspicion and intrigue and sneak. It's basically F1 on bicycles.
I can't ride a bike.
You can't ride a bike.
You can't drive a car either.
I'm not the world's strongest swimmer either.
I mean, can you run?
I've run a marathon.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually way more than I've done. So,
There
have
we
you
go.
run a marathon, Cheeka?
No.
Okay, Terry's the best of us.
Thank you.
Speaking of the best of us,
I'll go with that.
hey, Cheeka, you been doing anything?
I've met 2 celebrities this week.
Who are the 2 celebrities? Give us a clue. 20 questions.
Okay.
This better be good.
Are they alive?
I like.
Okay.
We met corpses. It's Lenin, the embalmed corpse of Lenin.
Are they singers?
Yes.
Were the 2 celebrities you met at the same time, or were they separate celebrities?
So I met them at the same time, but they are not connected.
Somebody to do with music.
Yes.
Was it someone who your mum would like?
Yes.
Was it a man?
Yes.
Were they both men?
They're both men, yeah.
Was it somebody
Leo
of
Sayer.
roughly our generation?
One's below your generation, younger.
What are you talking about?
Zayn from One Direction.
No, but you're on the right
Harry
line.
Harry
from
Styles.
One Direction.
Yes.
You met
There you
Harry
go.
Styles?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of teenage girls out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe
That
not
are listening
teenage
to
girls.
this podcast.
There's a lot of
You wanna
sort of
get death
prepubescent
threats.
girls.
The other one, the
Oh, the other
other
one. Was it,
celebrity, older.
Older.
Brian May.
No.
They don't really no, most of the backing...
He sang Driven by You.
Oh, that's true.
Driven by You.
But most of the backing vocals
we
on
built-
Queen were actually also done by Freddie Mercury.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh,
The
he's an
band,
actor.
okay, the band was a conserve.
The Jam. Paul Weller.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
And
That's
he
much
said
better
he
than
liked
Harry
my
Styles.
shoes.
He didn't
No,
like
he's
your
not.
shoes.
He
He
said
liked your
liked my
shoes.
shoes.
Oh,
What
shoes.
shoes were you wearing?
Really good shoes. No, he said, are they, is it Paul Smith? He
Yeah.
he said, are they Paul Smith? And I said, no, they were £3 on Amazon. And then we had a silent lift trip together.
Was the lift going underground?
Now it is time for Listener's Corner. This week, Mike Richmond said, I have the runs, so I missed most of the race. I will trust your recap rather than watch it on iPlayer. Firstly, mate, it's not on iPlayer.
It's not watching on the iPlayer, it's on all four.
So that's not going to work anyway.
Yeah.
So I would trust
But
us.
having said that, he has made the right choice, because I think if you want a race recap, we are the people you go to.
It'd be good though if Mike Richmond didn't realise that it's been on Channel 4 for the last couple of years.
That might be why he missed it.
Watching episodes of QI going, oh,
Can't believe Stephen Fry's winning the championship.
Sandy Toksvig now.
Oh, of course, sorry.
Stephen Fry quit at the end of last year after becoming world champion.
Do you want to do a 10-second race recap for Mike?
Oh, Kimi Räikkönen.
Craig Winter said, it was the most enjoyable race for ages. Overtaking, crashes, not knowing who's going to win, and engines on fire.
I mean, it's the best one this year, I would say.
Well, it was the first race when we've had Vettel and Hamilton dicing over the same bit of track and not just having some stupid strategy race.
Yep. And we also had Bottas and Vettel dicing for the same bit of track, but that didn't last for quite as long.
Ben Turnbull said, a little boy demonstrating exactly what Ferrari management normally do when they don't get their way. Then everyone in F1 running around after him trying to make things better. I wouldn't be surprised if he got $100 million just so he turns up next year.
Right, Ben, that is the best comment we have ever had.
Mike Stoner said Hulkenberg was 6th, Palmer was 15th, even though they were both in the same car. Someone at Renault must be sabotaging Palmer's car. It's the only possible explanation.
I agree entirely.
I can't think what else it would be.
He's a champion.
No, it's being sabotaged by Jolyon Palmer, who is being allowed to drive it terribly.
Ben Willis said, do you guys like me feel for the engineers, constantly told by their drivers to be quiet and leave them alone?
I reckon maybe one race they should actually do that.
Scott Crawford said, another great weekend for Charles Leclerc. The Sky Mouths were talking about Sainz shaking loose to Ferrari. That's the wrong decision. Leclerc to Ferrari, Sainz to Red Bull, Danny Ricciardo to Williams. I've solved all the problems.
Nearly. No, Leclerc will have to go to Toro Rosso. Sainz will go to Red Bull.
Why Toro Rosso?
Because that's what, they're not going to get.
Because they haven't got Ferrari anymore, have they? Toro Rosso, they're using Renault engines this year.
Oh, he's Leclerc Ferrari driver, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the hotshot Ferrari Academy guy who waltzed away with the feature race in GP2.
Hang on, has
F2.
Has anyone got Ferrari engines next year?
Ferrari. Oh, well, Haas.
Haas. Okay, Leclerc will be in Haas.
I reckon Magnussen will get the...
I reckon Grosjean's going to go to McLaren. What? Said it.
Don't be stupid.
No.
Our sole email this week was from Alan David, and it is purely visual.
It is pretty funny, though.
In other news, Alonso said he will look elsewhere if 2018 wins look unlikely at McLaren, and he will literally talk to anyone.
Apart from McLaren, I would imagine.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? We'd be like, right, guys, I've got all of the teams in one room. I'm just going to say I'm available next year. And like Eric Boudier goes, Fernando. Sod off. Sacre bleu.
He's sure.
His contract ends this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he's either going to go back to Renault, and there's something just a bit sad about going back to Renault for the third time.
Although they are looking a bit better, we'll talk about later.
Mercedes won't have him. Ferrari aren't going to have him back. Who else is he going to go? Haas?
IndyCar?
I mean, if he wins Indy, I think there might be a bit more chatter, and I reckon Mercedes might go for him if he wins Indy. And then next year, Mercedes will go to the Indy 500 with Alonso. And then they'll put does the Mercedes ever do Le Mans?
Yep. Schumacher used to race for Mercedes at Le Mans.
There we go.
Yeah.
But that won't happen. But it could.
But it won't.
And finally, the Formula One team payments for 2017 have been revealed.
Yes, they have.
Someone's hacked into their PayPal account.
I'm going to give you one guess to who got the most money in the latest round of payouts to the teams.
Well, obviously, Mercedes have dominated the last couple of years, and they've won nearly every race.
Yep.
So
Ferrari.
What?
Yeah, it was Ferrari.
Oh.
They were given 180 million for being consistently average for the last few years, but they've been in it a long time.
Have you got the whole list there?
I've got the whole list.
Because they finished just ahead of Force India last year. In the Constructors' Championship, and they got nearly double the money. Is that right?
They got more than double the money. Force India got 72
Who decides
million.
this?
Well, it's all in the Concord Agreement. Basically, Ferrari get a load of stuff because they're Ferrari.
What happened to Mannor's money?
Gone.
I thought Bernie Eccleston had a nice jacket on this week.
Yeah, they don't get anything because they fell apart.
Tell us how wrong we are. You can tweet us at For F1's Sake or find us on Facebook where we're For F1's Sake. Or you can email us at wrong@ff1s.com. So it's been a month since we started playing Apex Race Manager, the Formula One strategy game for iPhone and Android devices. So Phil, remind us, what is it all about?
Well, Cheeka, this is a Formula One strategy game. You take ownership of a driver, in this case the wonderfully named Phill Tromans, because I put my own name in, and you try and bring him up from the bottom of Formula One. And
sorry, I'm just imagining Phil bringing himself up from the bottom.
Just grow up a bit, please.
And basically the way it works is you get a load of money and you can choose where to put it, much like being
a brothel.
Maurizio Arrivabene. So I've decided to spend my money making my race engineer super good. So I've got like the Rob's medley of race engineers, except I'm better than Massa. And I've spent a bit of money on aerodynamics, but you can also boost your tyre wear, so you get better tyre wear, so you can be like basically Perez. The race starts and it tells you what's happening. You get little sub games where you can drive around chicanes or do a pit stop and you have to sort of react, and it's really good fun. It's like lots of little sort of mini games all in one big game.
So optimise your car and race all the tracks in the season to win the championship. You can get it now for free on your iPhone or on your Android device. Now let's return to the Spanish Grand Prix, where last year Verstappen won his first ever race for Red Bull, Schumacher won his 6 times, and in 2012 Maldonado won. Most importantly, though, this year, Malcolm in the Middle was there.
That
Really?
was weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
I
It was
didn't see that bit.
It was Red Bull that just bought a really weird who's who of American TV shows to the Spanish Grand Prix for no discernible reason. Frankie Muniz was there, who's Malcolm in the Middle, who's now like 40 or something, and Frazier was there. Kelsey Grammer was there.
Wasn't he there with Renault though?
I thought he was there with Red Bull, but maybe
I saw him next to a yellow thing. Maybe that was
just
Niles.
sort of-
Right, let's start with Mercedes. Hamilton's race involved numerous radio messages that were a cross between centrally whispered words and an asthma attack, good tyre choices and some perceptive pitting. He also lost 4.5 stone during the race in preparation for his #Beachbody 2017. I realise now 4.5 stone is
I mean, that's
medically impossible.
I'm sure that's fine. That sounds about
If
right.
you don't eat carbs,
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah,
doable.
he didn't have any carbs in the car while he was driving, apparently.
Did Hamilton only win because A, the Barcelona track is bendy, B, Ferrari cocked up their pit stops, or C, he's very good at overtaking in tricky places?
I'm going to go mostly B.
I think it was just because of Bottas holding up Vettel for 10 laps.
Well, that certainly helped.
St. Bottas
Yeah.
the martyr.
That was some nice sneaky tactics by Mercedes, basically sacrificing Bottas entirely, as it turned out.
I mean, he had a 20-year-old engine in his car, so they thought, get as much as we can out of him
Yeah,
and then
they're
chuck
just like,
in.
right, be a mobile chicane. Channel your inner Palmer.
By the
just sort of
way,
get in the
you
way.
are now the number 2 driver.
It's like, so Valtteri, I know you want to win, but maybe do you think you could just sort of get in Seb's way a bit so Lewis could win? And Valtteri went, yes, okay.
You know in the Bahrain Grand Prix where you're in the lead, Valerie, but you're really slow and you're holding everyone up? Could you do that again? Oh, yeah, I think I can do that. Thanks. Yeah, that's really good. I'm really good. If we do that, we'll talk about your contract next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that noise from your engine. Oh, don't worry. Oh. But having said that, I still think Ferrari did cock up their pit stops, because why didn't they pit during the virtual safety car like Mercedes did?
What was the virtual safety car for again? I've forgotten.
Because was that when Van Dorn inexplicably turned in on Massa for no reason whatsoever?
Oh, God, yeah, and his car just went, fuck this. I have had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
I'm quitting.
He didn't pit during the virtual safety car because he would have come out behind Hamilton.
Yeah, but if you pit under a virtual safety car, then when you're sat still in the pits, all the other cars are going past slowly,
Yep.
so you're going to lose less time than if you're sat still in the pits and all the other cars are going past quickly.
I can't believe they didn't pit.
But he still would have come out behind Hamilton.
Well, he didn't come out behind Hamilton, as it turned out. So you remember at the end he was like, I've lost 8 seconds somewhere, I can't work out why. It's because they didn't pit during the virtual safety car when Mercedes did. So suddenly Hamilton gained 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds through doing that. Ferrari should have done it.
Well, let's talk about Ferrari then.
Let's.
We saw archetypal Vettel behaviour. He did an excellent overtake, slagged off everyone else on the track over the radio. He ignored his team when they told him to do something. and it turned out to be right. However, Raikkonen spent the race with what he believed to be his biggest fan, but was actually a young French boy that was crying because he wanted an ice cream. He whisked his boy and his parents away from the seats that they paid loads for and ensured they missed all of the good bits of the race for photos with him, and F1 is all about the fans, man.
I just can't believe, if I'm going to be super cynical, I mean, I'm not talking like, tinfoil hat cynical here,
Just regular
false flag stuff, but they got the camera on that kid very quickly after Raikkonen went out. Like, do you really think the cameraman was going, oh, no, let's look at the audience, there's a crying kid, let's zoom in? I think that kid had been having a tantrum for like an hour. And the parents were just like going, oh, God's sake, we've brought you to the race. Can you just stop? Like kids do. And then did you see they were interviewed after, right? They're French. They don't speak very good English. Not their fault at all. That's perfectly fine. But, I don't think they speak Italian either. So I think Ferrari came up and they just kind of followed them, and then they were just there bewildered going, oh, he's a big Kimi Raikkonen fan. I don't think he was. I don't think he gave a shit. I don't think he likes Formula One.
I think that it's a legacy of the Bernie days that there's always just a camera focused on the crowd looking for crying people so he could feed his malevolent soul.
It was, there was something refreshingly different about the modern Formula One compared to the Bernie days, because you could always see Bernie in the back of the Ferrari garage going, are they giving him a cap? That's 60 quid.
It is so difficult to get into the paddock of an F1 race. I can't imagine that ever happening until this year. And even if you're in the paddock club, you only go in sort of half-hour windows when everything's tightly marshalled, and then you're shepherded out again. So, he's done very well.
Good on him.
And as you said on Twitter, he does look like Tim Farron.
He really does.
Should we talk about the drivers as well, or do we not care?
Well,
it was good to see, as you said, Vettel and Hamilton having a proper ding-dong on track.
They're the right ding-dong,
And it was good.
Do you think we can see future ding-dongs?
I'm hoping
I'd be well up to seeing their ding-dongs.
It was good to see a proper on-track battle. Okay, there was a very large element of strategy and undercutting and overcutting and wombling free, but at the end of the day, they had to fight on track. And Vettel with Bottas as well, which is obviously a lot easier. And a really good overtake by Vettel. Are we going to talk about that? Maybe one of the overtakes of the year so far, when he double dummied, then went on the grass and got past him.
He did good, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't messing about.
Shame it was.
But then sort of he came up against Hamilton, and Hamilton just went, okay, I'm going to drive past you around the outside now because my car's much faster in a straight line.
It was, Leah, a few laps of real kind of building up to excitement, and then
I thought Ferrari was faster in a straight line.
I think they were. I think Ferrari.
I don't think in a straight line.
I think Ferrari should have won the race. I think Ferrari threw it away with that pit stop, and I think they were faster.
Mercedes did very well sort of tactically to get themselves back in play, because at the start of the race where Vettel just drove away, it did look like he was just going to keep doing that.
I mean, it is kind of unbelievable how close it is. Like, when you think of the logistics of two teams of like 800 people making cars to these rules, and they've come down to this, and they're like a tenth of a second between them. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. What did we think about Raikkonen? Went out first corner, got twatted. Verstappen as well.
Pretty happy with his kind of bent wheel the wrong way and still driving around the track. He's like, this can be fixed, get a bit of gaffer tape, come on. The rest of the year, and even all of last year, you can't get that guy to show any kind of bludgeoning the car around. He just seems to be there in fourth going, oh, I'm fine. And as soon as the wheel's broken, he's like Dan Dare, come on, I can get this thing. And it's, why? Where's that spirit the rest of the time?
He watched a bit of the race from the side, didn't he? Just sat there in his...
Well, he knew there was a bloody
with his
child.
Best friend, yeah.
No, he knew there was a child waiting for him in the paddock, and he's like, oh, God, do I have to?
Okay, Red Bull. Ricciardo may have had a boring race, unable to challenge the front runners, but on the plus side, he finished. He finished 1 minute and 15 seconds behind Hamilton. He didn't race, he had a drive. What went on here?
Well, podium by Barcelona.
Yeah.
Red Bull brought a whole new car to this race, and...
It's better than 80% of the field.
But they've changed everything, and they're still like a good minute behind the other cars.
Yeah.
This is not going well.
No. I mean, it could be worse.
How?
As long as one of the McLarens and one of the Ferraris goes out, they're probably going to be on the podium.
McLarens?
Yeah.
One of the Ferraris, one of Mercedes. Sorry, force of
wrong
habit to the early 90s.
And also, not only that, Verstappen was out on the first lap, wasn't he?
They're the best of the shit teams.
Yeah, but that's not where they want to be. They
all
were
gonna ebb and
top
flow,
dog.
though.
They were top dog a couple of years ago. You know, they were dictating the rules and being like invited to all the big parties.
Yeah, it all
Now,
goes in cycles, though, doesn't it? I mean,
Do you know what, there's
Renault
some-
have been on top for years, McLaren have been on top for years, Williams have been on top for years, and now look at them.
there's
That's where
something
Red Bull are
about
going.
when Ted Kravitz does his like notebook thing at the end of the race, and he walks down the pit lane. And in the years when Red Bull were dominating and winning 4 years in a row, this kind of stuff, them blaring out some terrible European house music was kind of, you know, you go, that is bad. But, you know, fair play, you're winning, you can play what you like. But they still play the same music. And
Oh, do they?
Yeah, but now they're kind of coming nowhere. I know it's a podium, but like lucked into it. It's just pathetic.
Do you think they should play sort of sad,
They should play some
morose
Just
music?
silence. Williams. Terry, can I borrow you, please?
Hi.
Oh,
Can you do a Vettel impression, please?
Yeah. Oh, why does it have to be Massa all of the time, Little Britain? Ha ha ha.
So Massa's going to have to be buying drinks for pretty much everyone after last weekend's driving. Stroll's race was an absolute disaster because of the humiliating fact that he was overtaken by Palmer. Was this any worse than you expected from Williams?
I don't care about Williams in this race, but I do want to talk about their stupid competition that's been all over my Facebook feed, which is where they've teamed up with Airbnb and you can win a night in the Williams garage with Felipe Massa, but
Wow.
curiously, yeah, it's a decent proposal, but not Lance Stroll. So I can only imagine that Lance Stroll has gone, I don't want to meet real people. Here's £1 million. I'm not
Make
doing
it
it.
go
Just want to spend a night in a garage with real people.
And who'd want to win
Maybe
that? Oh God! Imagine with Massa.
well, it's
Oh,
pretty part of the
lovely.
country, like just outside Oxford, Grove. It's a nice part of
I
the
think
world.
it might even be in a Formula One garage, like in a race, sleep in the garage.
Oh,
Like
the pit
Ghana.
garage.
Imagine trying to get some sleep when they're all doing well.
Oh, I assumed it was at Williams HQ or something, but
I haven't read. I've only
Isn't
looked
there
at,
is
I've
there
only
a
looked at the
curfew?
picture.
Maybe
I just
it's
assumed
during
it was a
curfew and you're not allowed to
garage.
do anything. You can't touch anything, can't do anything, can't have fun.
But you can sleep.
You've won. You go in there. Make sure no one touches anything.
So Massa had to avoid Bottas, Raikkonen and Verstappen carnage at the side of the road. And in doing so, he smacked Alonso.
Yeah, I don't blame him for that. I think that's just a racing incident that he was trying to avoid. For some reason, as Terry said, once Raikkonen had broken his car, he was like, well, I'm going to drive anyway, and just kind of speared back onto the track, and Massa was like, ah, and smacked into Alonso. So I don't blame him for that. But the performance of the car was just woeful. I mean, there was a point where weren't they overtaken by a Sauber at some point as well or something? Like using
terrible.
last year's Ferrari. They got a Mercedes engine. What? Just.
Would you? So is this Williams' worst race of the season?
Oh yeah, I would have thought so. Can't think of a worse one. They both finished out the points. I mean, Massa qualified in the top 10, but finished 13th. Stroll actually made up 2 places to go from 18th to 16th, but that's not really saying much.
I wasn't really listening to that because I thought I'd read the actual competition details, and it's bloody amazing.
All right, we'll
Right.
go back to this.
So, it's at the British Grand Prix.
Okay.
The lucky person will bed down in martini sheets in the Williams pits, flanked by the real FW40 cars. They'll also get trackside tickets for the weekend and a meet and greet with Massa and the Williams mechanics. So no
Wow.
Stroll, right? So I don't think Massa's going to sleep there, but you know.
That's not what you were selling.
But here's the best bit: to enter, right? All you got to do to be the chance of winning is to write a 100-word story about why you've earned your place in that bed. So,
Wow.
Next episode.
I'm going to write a proper one. It's going to be filthy. Secondly, can we do a competition? I don't know what we can win. I mean, I've got a spare room, right? The winner can, for the British Grand Prix weekend.
Have you got a garage anywhere near you?
There's an Esso garage.
That'll do.
So for a 100-word story, and I want this to be sent at wrong@ff1s.com, you get to come and watch the race with us, the British Grand Prix, in a pub somewhere in London. All 3 of us will be there, won't we?
Oh, we'll be there, yeah.
I won't be there, but
All right, Lance.
Got somewhere more important to be.
Something better to do with your money. It's a competition. You've got to write a story, 100 words, say why you'd like to spend a Sunday afternoon with me and Phil. Anything goes. Third person, preferably. But if you want to do a first person coming of age
Oh,
tale,
that's not putting
fine.
rules on it. Just 100 words.
Okay, 100 words.
Let's get creative with it.
And you'll do a meet and greet with us. So we watch the race. You'll be introduced to me and Phil at the start of the race. And then, like any proper meet and greet, we don't want to speak to you after that.
Absolutely not.
If you even look at me, I'm going to just...
I'm going to have hand
Get you
sanitizer with
removed.
me. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be good. So if you want to come and watch the race with us and, have a generally great time, send it to wrong@ff1s.com. I will read every single one.
And I presume we'll be covering flights in a hotel, will we?
Oh, terms and conditions. There will be no flights or hotels or coaches or
Any sort of expenses.
maybe crisps.
Yeah.
A bag of crisps each, maybe a pint.
Maybe a pint.
Maybe a pint.
If it's really good, I mean, it'd have to be pretty good to win. Maybe a pint. So, yeah, you've got to get to London.
One to share.
Got to get to
between
London yourself.
And the value of your prize may go down as well as up. I don't know. I'm making it. What
And your
what are
home
they?
is at risk
Your
if you
home-
do not.
Because we'll know you're out and we'll have your address. Put your address on the email and we'll rob you.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the entries
It's gonna be
flood into
good.
that one. Better beef up the servers.
Okay, Sauber. Considering he was in one of the worst cars on the track, the one-stop strategy worked and he went round the bollard the wrong side. But Wehrlein came home in 8th, which isn't bad for a team that has a collection tin outside of its garage. Now, Sauber ahead of McLaren in the standings. Do you think things are going to stay that way?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless Jenson Button wins the Monaco Grand Prix because it rains.
Well, there's been loads of stories going around that Jensen basically doesn't really give a fuck. He's just like, yeah, whatever. I haven't driven a car for a while. It could be fun. I live in Monaco. It's only down the road.
But don't forget, Sauber next year have got Honda engines. So technically, as it stands right now, Sauber should be the number 1 team for Honda, if you follow my twisted logic.
I'm not sure any team's in the number 1 Honda team, really. I mean, by dint of them having a Honda engine. But Wehrlein did well.
Good on him. Didn't he do well?
He
He did, even with a
Very
penalty.
Well, that penalty was a
Because
bit
of his
annoying.
bollard nonsense.
Bollards. I spend a lot of time thinking of Wehrlein's bollards.
He did really well to get that dog of a car home in 8th on what is not a particularly slow track.
But Ericsson did well as well. He was 11th.
It's not any points though, is
Yeah,
it?
but still.
First
with-
loser.
Yeah. Well,
11th loser. 10th
10th
loser.
loser. I don't think we care. The only thing we've got out of the what is it? We're quarter way into the season now, and what we've got to say about Ericsson, apart from the fact that he's got nice hair, and it took one of our listeners to point that out.
Yep.
Right.
Wehrlein, though. Oh,
Terrible hair.
can't wait till he gets a podium. All that champagne.
Force India. 4th and 5th. That's another incredible double points finish, and they managed to match the pace of Red Bull on points, which is less incredible. However, the team were fined for not having big enough numbers on their car. Shame on you. But the FIA got Ocon's number wrong on official documents, so there's a pot calling some kettles black there. Now, why do you reckon Force India had their best finish of the season in Spain? And more importantly, could you read their numbers?
This
This
numbers
isn't
thing
you-
is
isn't you rules.
fantastic.
Oh, really?
It's amazing.
Okay, we'll do point counterpoint.
Okay.
Go.
It's good to have the numbers really big so you can see what car it is if you're at the track.
Phil?
It's not enough.
Why?
They're still quite small. If you're at the track, you won't really see them.
I know you've got bad eyesight, mate, but
I have got bad eyesight.
they are all...
But I mean, you can't really see much. It's bad enough that not all the drivers have, massively different helmets. Quiet. They need to do more. I'd like to see different liveries. I'd like to see much more differences between the different cars because they just look too much the same.
I'd like to see a Google Glass type thing where you wearing special glasses and then when the car goes by, you get stats in your
Oh,
eyes.
like augmented
that would be
reality.
good.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would be good. But
But
possibly
until
more
then-
expensive.
A bit more expensive and a bit of pain. Although, Force India have been given a suspended fine of €25,000 for getting this wrong.
Bloody hell.
€25,000 for putting the numbers in the wrong place.
Some of the teams seem to take it more seriously than others. Like some of them looked better.
Ferraris looked amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they
the
were
retro.
good.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Mercedes,
Just-
just rubbish.
Yeah.
They just stuck a sign on the fin, didn't they? That was about it.
A terrible kind
Red
of
Bull one looked
airbrushed
all right.
helmet.
Well, Force India, their argument of the fact that their numbers were a bit smaller is that their sponsors took up too much space.
Oh God, it's so hard being us. Oh God, all that
Were they
money
whining
pouring
to
in.
Sauber and McLaren while this is going on? Have you guys got this problem as well, guys? You just got too many sponsors and you can't fit. Oh, sorry.
Hayes!
Hey,
Now-
I'm running out of ways to say this.
On the last lap, Kvyat gave Magnussen a puncture. Why did Toro Rosso hate Magnussen?
It's not as good as Grosjean.
Grosjean's not exactly great. I mean, I know he came in. Did he come in 10th in the end, Grosjean? But
Yeah.
he's still, he's been a bit pants this year.
Grosjean got some points.
Yeah, but Magnussen gets
Got a point.
Magnussen
8
gets the
points.
best points of having his engineer telling him to calm down. When
Oh,
he
yeah, that was hilarious.
As calm as anything.
That was brilliant. The most animated engineer I've ever heard.
Just calm down. Just calm down. Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's fine. Just, Kevin.
For God's
You're
sake,
gonna-
Kevin!
You're gonna have a heart attack. Just stop. Yeah, I'm fine. What's going on?
Hysterical engineer. There was a moment where Magnussen sort of was... loads of people were accusing Magnussen of doing stuff he wasn't doing. Did you see the thing where Sainz accused Magnussen of forcing him off the road in the pit lane? Where all he'd done was literally drive down the pit lane in a straight line. And hadn't moved at all.
And Sainz was just driving along the grass going, he pushed me. He didn't, mate. Didn't do anything of the sort. Silly sodder.
Renault.
Oh, God.
Finally, their cars seemed to be coming together, and Hulkenberg was looking good. Piss poor from Palmer again, though. Cyril Abiteboul.
Abiteboul. A bit of a bull.
Cyril Abiteboul said, "For Jolion, it was a tough Grand Prix, and we are dedicated to understanding what we can do to improve this. Do you have any ideas?"
Hand grenade.
Well, like just before first practice, he gets into the car,
in his hotel room,
pulls on his gloves. They lift up the monitor that's sat in front of him, and then a beatable just goes.
Guys,
a grenade into
where's
the
everyone gone? Guys, this is like when my father raced in Formula 2, and
I'll be a champion one day.
Jonathan Palmer, his dad, was on the grid walk with Martin Brundle, and this was my favourite moment of the race. I don't know if anyone of you saw this on the Sky coverage. So Martin Brundle was like, "Oh, Jonathan, how you doing?" All this kind of stuff. Did a bit of stuff, and he was like, "What's it like for you now? Your son's about to drive a race. Is it nerve-wracking?" And Jonathan Palmer just kind of went, "Well, actually, I've got both my boys in something because my other son is doing a Formula 2," and he gave the full name of the series, like the Formula 2 Rallycross rental, it's a Snetterton right now. And then when he stopped talking, Martin Brundle, there was like a half-second gap where you could tell he'd zoned out. He said, "All right, okay, all right, nice meeting you." And this is how boring that man is. God, I hate him.
You mentioned previously that you were going to try and, as one of his biggest fans, you were going to try and get an audience with Jolyon Palmer. How's that going?
I had a weird chance this week,
Wow.
and I failed.
Oh.
I'm here to tell you, I'm happy to admit failure, but I just happened to turn on Instagram, and Renault were doing a live video chat with Jolyon Palmer.
That's brave.
And all the comments were coming up, and they were just literally. You could see he was looking at the screen, and he was reading the comments. And I just thought this is the best time, so I typed out, "Why are you such a massive bellend?" And you know what? I couldn't press send. I couldn't do it. You were totally right. I totally bottled it.
Bottle it. You
You're
can't even
aging.
bottle it
That's
when
what
you're
happens.
miles away behind the safety of a screen.
But then I thought, how do all these internet trolls do it? It's really hard. I was looking at his little face, thinking, I don't want to see that little second where he goes, "Oh."
Toro Rosso, points! It was rounded up by Sainz in this quote: "I have a surprise for the team in the garage in order to thank them in a proper way. Let's enjoy some good Spanish ham and beers together. Well deserved by everyone."
Was this before or after the race?
I mean, wouldn't that be embarrassing if the engineers during the race had found his stash and just eaten it all?
Munching on a ham.
And he's like, "Guys, I've got a little surprise for you. Why is there just a bone and some tins in here?"
I think it's the least he can do. Sainz was a bit all over the place this weekend, wasn't he? I mean, he did quite well to finish in 7th, but he was a bit kind of like, "Ah!"
Just a bad day.
Oh, they both got points. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah,
Driver of the year, Fiat.
McLaren. Let's cast our minds back to FP1, where Alonso's car managed 2 corners before blowing up. None of us expected to see that feisty Spaniard in Q3. When it came to the race, though, he got pushed off by Massa and Kvyat got in the way in the pits. If that's not depressing enough, Alonso went to play tennis during the rest of practice. Van Dorn got a 10-place penalty for updating his lawnmower. And that's the second race in a row that's happened. He then ended his race on the first corner. It was McLaren's first time in Q3 since Abu Dhabi last year. In Spain, 2013 was the last time that Alonso won an F1. On the plus side, though, he's off to America now, and Jenson Button will be driving that ox cart in Monaco. Is it time to admit that Stoffel might not be as good as we thought he was?
No, we've got a lot of T-shirts to sell. So 2 things. Alonso's qualifying lap was spectacular.
Very good.
Utterly, unbelievably amazing. All that kind of talk of him being the best driver, there is no way that car should have been that high. Secondly, he should have just got out of the car at the end of quali and then just gone, "I'm off. I'm going to America.
Straight
There's
on the
no
plane.
point." Yeah, just I'm done.
Mic drop.
We just saying about Jenson Button, maybe not giving it his all for the Monaco race. I've got a sneaking suspicion he's just not going to show up. Just imagine on the Friday they just be like, "Oh, was it this weekend? Oh, I had a triathlon." Sorry.
Who's their reverse driver?
Well,
the
well,
reverse driver
Jenson's
is
the
Stoffel
reserve
off at
driver.
the moment. Yeah, but if he doesn't turn up, they've got a couple of young drivers, haven't they? They've got Nick De Vries and somebody else.
Yeah, but they're both
bring in.
busy.
All of that brings us to the standings with Terry Saunders.
So the Drivers' Championship is looking very close. In first place is last year I cried a lot and also got to meet Kimi Räikkönen with 104 points. Second place, I'm knackered. Third place, what a difference a fortnight makes. Fourth, but who do I see when I cry? With 49 points.
That was really sad.
Fifth place, podium. Yeah, this year's shit. Sixth place, what a difference a year makes. See, we didn't talk about him, Verstappen. Oh, you lot, great he is. This is how he should be. I said he'd be shit.
Taken out, wasn't his fault.
Seventh place, hello, can anybody see me? Eighth place, I'm really tall. I saw an interview with Ocon. He's very tall.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he's taller than Perez. Ninth, how is that kid more famous than my kid that doesn't cry? It's Massa.
Oh, yeah.
10th, have snuck a bunch of meat through duty free. Signs, that's what I think. 11th, I got to the end of the race just to avoid Jonathan Palmer in our team garage. 12th, small problem, I've forgotten how to drive. 13th, I'm better and fit again. 14th, I'm lonely. And in 15th, with 4 points, joint with the others, also on 4 points, is fucking calm down. Calm down. Just fucking calm down, dear. Oh. And the Constructors' Championship. Right, in first place is rebranding to Hamilton and his little helper, Benz. In second place is rebranding to Vettel Drives and there's a Kimi crash.
Oh, I want a Kimi crash.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Crash with a K.
It would just be empty bottles of vodka and lolly sticks. Just go and play in the ball pit, just mind the broken glass. Third place, if you change everything and are still shit, maybe you're the problem. Ooh.
Existential.
Yeah, thank you. Fourth place, we're pink and you still can't see us. Fifth place, I've written nothing for Toro Rosso. Sixth place, are we focusing on next year's car yet? That's Williams. I think Williams is going to be the first in with the next year's car excuse. Seventh place, Renault. We just don't talk to him after the races now. Eighth, Haas Beans. Oh, I'm running out of ideas. Ninth, officially better than McLaren.
Wow, yeah, that's
4
true.
points.
Have McLaren scored any points yet?
Nope.
Jesus.
They haven't finished a race yet. Oh no, Alonso did.
Alonso finished this time.
First time.
Outside the points.
So yeah, I'm wondering about sunsetting in the standings. They're getting increasingly hard to write.
Now it is time for the 2017 FF1S Grand Prix Fantasy League, powered by Grid Rival. Phil, do you think you could talk us through the 2017 FF1S Grand Prix Fantasy League, powered by Grid Rival?
I'll give it a damn good go, Cheeka. So after 5 rounds of 20, the top 5 of the 2017 FF1S Grand Prix Fantasy League, powered by Grid Rival, looks like this. In 5th place, Chase Carey's moustache. Very closely in front, Norfolk and Chance. Norfolk and Chance.
Yeah.
Norfolk and... I mean, it's an old one, but it's still quite fun.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pub quiz name, isn't it?
3rd place, testing, 1, 2, 3. And it's pretty close between those guys. 100 points ahead-ish on 2,812. Platypus.
Memorable.
Imagine a car that looked like a platypus.
Well, what does that Ferrari a couple of years ago did with a big wide spoon nose?
Oh.
And in first place, still, Mercedes-Benz AMG. Toto Wolff there, still doing very well.
Yeah.
Within our own little battle.
We don't have to go through this bit.
After last week's standings, where I was really not doing very well, things have turned around quite nicely. So in 3rd place among us, in position 69,
This is dirty today.
is Terry Saunders. Let's get Fwonky. Jumping up to 29th place, Cheeka. Nice arse.
Thank you. The thing is, though, is I actually forgot to have a talent driver.
Oh, you didn't get your bonus.
Despite not having that, I still got a lot more points than you, Terry.
For anyone who else who hasn't chosen their talent driver, you can get a bonus if you pick one of your rookies or one of your less talented drivers, make them the talent driver. They get a bonus. I did remember to do that, and I appear to have jumped from last among us to first among us in 20th place. Tin Duck Racing. Although my contract with Mercedes has now expired, and you can't get them again for another race. So I don't know how well I'm going to do from now on. It's getting tactical now. And speaking of tactical, to those of you who have yet to join our Grand Prix Fantasy League powered by Grid Rival, you can do so by going to this link, which Terry will give you. Terry?
FF1S.com / the word / written out Grid Rival.
You're going to have to create that on the site now.
I don't. FF1S.com / Grid Rival.
Yeah, and you can join our Fantasy League powered by Grid Rival, which will let you join late. Doesn't matter that you've missed the first 5 races, as is my understanding. because of clever maths, and it'll sort of even it out, and you can still have a chance of winning.
Yeah, and we've actually been adopted by the Formula 1 group, which means Jenson Button's going to come into the championship 5th for the Monaco Grand Prix.
If he wins the race, got the championship in the bag. 2 championships for Benson. Good news.
And now, the state of F1 with Terry Saunders.
Ross Brawn has hinted to a more open future in Formula 1 by adopting a NASCAR-style model of open scrutiny. At given intervals throughout the season, the teams will have to open up their cars and the other teams are allowed to poke about and see the magical hidden bits. This means a Force India can copy a Mercedes widget fairly and the big money teams don't have a massive advantage. Of course, the big teams, Mercedes, will be against this, as anything that diminishes their advantage is obviously terrible. And wait, Ferrari are storming out the sport again until Chase Carey starts crying and then gets to meet Kimi Räikkönen. But, like every state of F1, we have to deal with the fundamental question of what the hell is Formula 1 anyway? Is it to be the best of the best, with teams putting up screens around their test cars like an arm wrapped around your desk in an exam? Or is it about the competition? And if you're truly the best, you'll always be one step of the rest. If you want to be a record breaker, dedication's what you need. Sorry. Either way, it's a rule that would appeal to the have-nots and horrify the haves. How do we square this circle? Well, as ever, don't worry, I've got a solution. These wishy-washy debates never go far enough. I say we're going to take rules from fucking NASCAR, let's go the whole hog and bring in the running Le Mans style starts as well, only with all the pieces from all the cars all over the road. Whoever can pick up enough bits and bolt them on quickest gets to go first. The cars will be different colours and different shapes, and it won't only be about driving skill, but how many episodes of Scrap Heap Challenge you've watched. Win-win. Genius.
What do you think about this? The actual idea from Ross Brawn?
It's never going to happen.
I mean, it won't, but I think it's actually quite a nice idea. But because I wonder how the teams would play it. I wonder if they'll have their little upgrades, but they'll sort of hoard them away until they absolutely need them. So they'll wait until there's a scrutineering and go, okay, well they haven't seen that one. Let's put this one on now.
I think the thing is, I just don't think you can get anywhere by looking and poking around these days. It's all like it's a computer chip. So it'll just be there going, all right, here's Mercedes engine. We can finally see all the secrets. And it'll just be like this sealed, hermetically sealed metal box. We're like, well, we can't open it because we're not allowed to. And then it'll just be, they'll be like, all right, we've copied the shape.
That is a good point. That NASCARs are considerably less complicated than Formula 1 cars. They basically just sort of run on advanced hamster wheels and wrought iron gates.
Exactly. Nice plan, though.
Still, Ross is coming in with new ideas.
That's it from us. It is goodbye to Phill Tromans.
Goodbye. We haven't had time to talk about Sterling Moss. You may remember a few years ago he fell down a lift shaft, hurt his leg, was fine. This time it emerged this week. He's just come out of hospital after being in since Christmas. He's been in hospital for 5 months with a chest infection. He's 87 years old. He's back out again. It's all right. He's indestructible.
Good.
Sterling Moss.
Keep well, Sterling.
And to Terry Saunders.
We have had time to talk about the competition, but I'm going to remind you again, 100 words, and you get to spend the day with me and Phil. But it's got to be a story.
Well, not the day.
And the night.
Well, depends who wins.
I've just checked the actual competition that William's doing, and it doesn't have to be a story. It's got to be just like 100 words about you, why you think you should win. Just to clarify, our competition, it has to be a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Seems very prescriptive.
Don't give a shit.
We'll be back sooner than you think for something special.
Ooh.
And then after that, it's the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yay.
In the meantime, check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/forF1's sake. And you can follow us on Twitter @forF1's sake. Buy our merch. We've got mugs and t-shirts and other stuff. Terry.
FF1S.com/SHOPSHOP. Oh, I've got it wrong. P.
Please tell your friends about the podcast and leave us a review on iTunes. I've been Cheeka. Goodbye.
Bye.